Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for Broadway World. Ramin Karimloo is one of Broadway's favorite leading men. He is also an award-winning recording artist. You know him from such musicals as The Phantom of the Opera, Les Mis, Anastasia, and Love Never Dies. Well, he's about to return to Broadway as Nick Arnstein opposite Beanie Feldstein's Fanny Brice in the classic musical Funny Girl. And I caught up with him here at the August Wilson Theater, where it begins previews on March 26th, 58 years to the day when Funny Girl opened on Broadway at the Winter Garden Theater. I am so happy to be standing here with you outside of the August Wilson.
It's great to be back, and it's great to see you, my friend.
Okay, I love this. Is this the Nick Arnstein?
It is. I'm still getting used to it. Every time I I do a close shave and I look in the mirror afterwards, I'm like, oh, okay, so that's what it looks like. Now I had some photos done recently, and I look back, there's a couple of shots where I was like, wow, I do see a lot of Omar Sharif in that, and that's not, that sounds like I'm bigging myself up because I like Omar Sharif, so.
Okay, so you're about to return to Broadway as Nick Arnstein in Funny Girl here at the August Wilson. How excited are you?
I'm super excited. It's been a long time coming with this project, let alone just getting back to theater, seeing all our friends back at work, seeing the shows. And I was in New York a couple times over the pandemic, and it lost its character, it lost its energy. This time, you get a sense of I get a sense of how I remember it, and also a new lease of life for a lot of people in our industry as well, and just an appreciation for getting back to what we love doing.
Yeah. Have you been able to put the past 2 years into any kind of perspective? I've been asking everybody this, and they're like, it's a blur. I can't figure it out.
Funny enough, since I've moved back here, I feel like 2022 for me has started. Because up until now, it just felt like 2020. And now I feel we've started a new year, a new start. And of course, there's still hurdles ahead, but I think at this point, we're going to do what we can now.
Yeah.
Putting the perspective, it's that thing of like knowing what's really important in life. For me, it's like getting rid of a lot of stuff. Yeah. I collected a lot of stuff over my life, and the more I got rid of it, the better I felt. And just, family and community is the most important thing.
Yeah. Okay, we're standing here at the August Wilson. I mean, this is stunning behind us. I mean, the marquees are all lit. Yeah. There are people back. I mean, you're beginning previews on March 26th, which is 58 years to the day that Funny Girl opened right down the street at the Winter Garden Theater. I mean, what's it like living in the world of Funny Girl?
It's beyond anything I could have ever expected. Hands up, I didn't even know about the film. I sang with Barbara Streisand in a Hyde Park, which was extraordinary. I'd yet to see the film at that point. But this whole experience has been crazy because, out of the blue, I get a FaceTime call from Barbara Streisand. I end up singing with her in Hyde Park. My friends at Sony, who I'm still got great relations with, I've done some recordings with over my career, they were like, hey, we hear Funny Girl's coming back. We think you'd be a great Nick Arnstein. And I'm like, is that a good role? What is that all about? As I'm typing in the email to my agents to think, should we explore this? Like, it sounds different. It'd be something different for me. As I'm doing that email, I get an email from them saying, oh, you've been offered Nick Arnstein. What do you think? I'm like, this all happened within a 2-3 week period after singing with Barbara Streisand. And I was just like, well, I didn't even look into it. I just thought something in the universe is saying do it. I'll do it, and I'll figure it out as I go.
I can't believe you didn't know Funny Girl, and now you're coming back to Broadway to co-star in it.
Yeah, and what a cast. Beanie Feldstein, she's going to blow this city apart. She's incredible. Gerard, Jane, this cast. Yeah. I feel in a inspired way, in a beautiful way, very overwhelmed at times because the talent is just making me at least step up my game. I'm learning lots. They're pushing me as a dancer, which all I need is one step, and that's pushing me enough. So it's been extraordinary to work with this. Really, the talent is so deep, and to do this new number, which I think you're going to ask me about, to work with these boys dancing on a stage with them is just what an experience.
Okay, Beanie Feldstein. I mean, it must be so amazing to watch her create her own Fanny Brice right in front of your eyes.
Well, you hit it on the head with that. It's absolutely, it's this generation's Fanny Brice. It's just bringing her truth and this new truth to Harvey's new book as well, because again, and this is, I don't know, my lack of experience with the show prior to this, but for those who are familiar with it, they're like, this is a whole new Funny Girl as well. And it's giving Beanie just this room to grow and create her own thing, and it's amazing to watch. She's the most extraordinary co-star, leading artist for the company, let alone a co-star for me and a scene partner. But she makes me laugh. I still, like, at night when I'm going through the lines and whatnot, I'll think about what we do in rehearsals. I'm laughing to myself. I love her. She really can underplay comedy as well as, you know, do the sort of vaudeville shtick. She's extraordinary.
Yeah. Okay, this is one of the most iconic scores, of course, written by Julie Stein and Bob Merrill. You have some new songs that were either cut from the original Broadway production, right? Tell us about some of these new numbers that Nick gets to do.
Yeah, well, like I said off camera to you, one of the exciting parts of this role, at the time, I thought, oh, this is quite a non-singing role. Yeah. Perfect. And it's no longer that, which, again, it serves the story. So, you know, I start with, they've added You're a Funny Girl. That Nick starts singing. There's Who Are You Now is into a beautiful duet. And then Temporary Arrangement, the song that was in the film. So we started working on that, then rearranging that. So it's a whole new version of that song, and it lives in a very athletic place now with the dancing and this note at the end, which I couldn't help myself. On the day when we were exploring it, and they've been very collaborative, but we were trying to buy tickets. Yeah,
there are people buying tickets right there. Totally, I love this.
So we started working on it in the room, and the beginning there was a section with music. They're like, oh, we need a lyric here. I said, and I threw it off. I'm like, oh, what if it said something like this? And they're like, that's great. And they wrote it down, and now it's in. I'm like, did I just write a bit of Funny Girl? They're going to hate me for saying that. But what the point is, it's very collaborative, and it's very unique to us as a company. And it's great because, you know, the Nick Arnstein standbys and understudies, we're all in the room together, collaborating together, and it feels like a real group effort, which that's been a new thing for me, which I love.
Okay, you're talking about collaboration. That all starts with Michael Mayer, your incredible director. Like, what's it like being in the room with Michael Mayer?
He's extraordinary. I had a brief stint with him with chess when we went to the Kennedy Center, but he's like a child in the most glorious way. His enthusiasm, his love for the company, his support for the company, and it's the most, I don't know, maybe they're holding the stress and not letting us see it, because as a company, every day has just been fun. It's been joyous to work on it. We're almost through tech. If they're stressed, they're really hiding it from us, and it's really the trickle down from the choreographers to the producers. Scott Landis, like, he was in the room almost every day in rehearsals and all our run-throughs. I've never seen that with a producer. But how it's run, it's great too, because there's only one voice in the room, that's Michael Mayer. So whatever they discuss, whatever, it funnels through Michael. And it's just, I think it's been a real focused, like, we're all on the same page, you know?
I love this. The streets are all back in New York. I love this. The people, no, I love the hustle and bustle because, you know, during those 2 years, there was nothing. So did you come to the city at all during, were you in the city during the pandemic when everything was sort of shut down and quiet? Yeah,
there was one point where I came back for a quick trip, and there was nothing. And I kept telling people, it's like The Walking Dead season 4 here. It's like, it was not at all shops boarded up. So it's great to see restaurants opening again. It's great to see people back. You know, the heart of New York City is arts and theater, and I feel like the heart is starting to beat again.
Yeah, there's people everywhere. The marquees are all lit. Theaters are getting packed again. I mean, theaters are the safest place to be right now due to, you know, the masking and all the COVID precautions they're taking, right? I mean,
oh yeah, and like, you know, with travel, I've always felt safe with flights. Yeah. You know, they're saying, you know, how clean they're keeping it, but part of me thinks, why weren't we doing that anyways? You know, why aren't you washing your hands anyways? Yeah. No, but all joking aside, it's, you know, everyone wants this. No one wants to go backwards. Yeah. So we're doing what we're
moving forward. We're doing what we can.
100%.
The first time you saw yourself like done up as Nick, like tuxedo, that whole thing, like what went through your mind when you saw yourself in the mirror for the first time?
Well, you know, to get clothing like that, to be, you know, you want these sort of suits in your life anyways. But it makes sense for me. For me, putting a character together, I need the shoes, I need the clothes. You know, rehearsing Nick and the sort of physical truth, especially in Act 1, it's kind of hard when I do it in my own street clothes and rehearsal gear. I just like, it just doesn't make sense. There's a different physicality, but now it makes sense when you have a tailored bespoke suit. There's only one way to stand, you know, and you stand like a Nick Arnstein.
That cadence you have, right?
Yeah, that cadence. That's right. Yeah. The Nick Arnstein cadence.
Okay. So watching rehearsals, like, what blows you away the most? Like when you watch these numbers, you're like, does it change every day? Like, oh my God, I watched Beanie do this, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, I watched Jane do this, and then I watch Jared do his big tap number.
Jared is a virtuoso, man. Yeah. I keep telling him, the way he does it, he does it with such joy and enthusiasm and ease. Yeah. it makes you inspired to want to do it, and it almost makes you think you can get up and do it. And you're like, oh, he makes it look easy. He said, I'll get up and do it. And you think, well, I don't understand. I've got 2 feet. Why
don't mine move like Jared's, right?
It's phenomenal. Ayodele is just her support, and watching the tappers. There's, we have our dancers who all can tap as well. Yeah. Then we got the tappers, which come from a different breed.
Yeah, yeah.
And then they've got this earthiness about them, and that bleeds into the company as well. That energy, that coolness factor, and Jared is something else. I have a lot of time for him, and we get on really well, so I'm having a lot of fun.
Okay, you have some Broadway debuts being made in this show, and of course, no one could make them during the pandemic. They're finally going to make them. They're really special. You made yours as Jean Valjean in Les Mis. How magical was that night for you? What do you remember about your debut on Broadway?
Oh, this is where the pandemic has really fried my brain. I can't remember anything these days. Look, Les Mis was special for me. I guess it felt like a closed chapter with my tenure with Cameron McIntosh as well, because I grew up. Since 22, working in various shows for him, let me grow as an artist, afforded me a fantastic career, and I just felt like this could be the sort of swan song for a while. And it was I clearing out my storage finally when I got back, and I found like the old Tony nomination plaque, and
that's a great plaque.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, there it is. I saw all this stuff in my storage, and I saw a card from Cameron, and he was like, I'm so proud to be able to give you your Broadway debut. And that touched me. I was like, oh, yeah. And it made sense that it was with that show, because I've been very lucky through the years to be offered Broadway prior to that. And it's just something I'm not going to leave my kids. But this one made sense, and there wasn't no sort of second guessing it. So it was an extraordinary time. And working with Will and Casey and Kayla. And I'm still friends like Andrew Cobra. We're still hanging out soon. It's great. Made a lot of good friends.
Okay, and then there's the role of the Phantom. I mean, not only in the Phantom of the Opera, but Love Never Dies. I mean, what did that role mean to you in that whole world of Phantom?
It's funny, I was just listening to it, Phantom of the Opera, when I was getting ready. Put my little Nick Arnstein shave on. I was listening to the final there, out of blue, because I never listened to it anymore. What's the question?
What did he mean to you in that role?
Oh, Phantom, it's crazy, and Beanie keeps asking me about it all of a sudden. I always think I've always said what I need to say about it, but it was the dream for me, and getting it so young, I remember thinking, oh, I never really thought past this point. Now what? And it was a great time, and it was a long time ago. I haven't done it in maybe 12 years. So it'd be interesting to see what it'd be like to do it again, but I think that ship sailed.
No, but you have these iconic roles you've done. Like Jean Valjean, the Phantom. I mean, I'm sure Beanie's having the field day with you, because she is like musical theater, like goddess, right? I mean, it's the world we all lived in when we were like 2 and 3 years old.
Yeah, and she's a wealth of knowledge with music theater. Like sometimes she'll pose a question like, Ramin, how do you not know that? But to pass time in tech, we've been doing a confrontation. She does a wonderful Javert. And I think we're going to work on, she'll be my Christine to my Phantom next.
Oh, I see a big like Broadway Cares benefit or a concert with the two of you doing like the best duets of Broadway. You and Beanie, right?
Well, there was a moment during tech we were doing the confrontation. Yeah. Then we were getting so far into the scene of the confrontation, I thought, are you guys waiting for us to finish? Like, we don't have to carry on.
And they were like, no, we love this.
Yeah, it was great. And because there was a point in rehearsals in one of our scenes, I didn't realize this gets pretty complicated, the story and the relationships, and it gets, I don't want to say dark, but it gets very real. Yeah. And there was a point in rehearsals, I was into it, as one would say, and there was a chair I had to move. Broke it. So we broke out into Valjean at that point. I was like, oh my God, I broke a chair. I don't know if they'll keep that, though.
Funny Girl meets Les Mis.
Yeah, Les Mis are for life. You can always find Les Mis in every show.
Yeah. Okay, then there's Hal Prince. You got to work with who I think is the greatest director-producer of all time in Broadway history. When you look at the amount of shows he produced and directed, you got to do The Prince of Broadway with him. What was the whole experience like working with Hal?
Doing Prince of Broadway gave me an education, again, in theater, and he was incredible to work with every day with that phenomenal cast. To do it in Japan, my favorite place on earth, with these producers, Omega, they handled the world premiere of Prince of Broadway perfectly, and it was celebrated. It wasn't about anything other than let's celebrate Hal Prince's life, his work, and it was one of my favorite times in my life. And every day was pure joy. And working with Hal, it was great because I'm not going to say we didn't bump heads, because we did, and it was artistically, that was good because he was open to discussion, but at the same time, I'm like, it's Hal Prince. When we're running the scene of Phantom, and I had ideas, but I was like, and if they didn't necessarily initially match with him, but I'm like, well, let's see how it goes. I didn't know how to approach it, but he was very, very open about it. Yeah. And then afterwards, he'd sit down beside me. I remember after Being Alive, he goes, oh, Ramin, I understand what you're doing now. It makes sense. You're layering it. And he was very, very complimentary, but very just loving and supporting. Like, it was so much fun.
He always listened, because I remember it was during a show that they were doing, and someone had made a suggestion. He's like, go to lunch. And he ran out of the room saying, oh my God, I wonder if I'm going to be fired from the show. And he came back after lunch, and Hal's like, we're putting that in. Yeah. So it's like, it's collaboration. That's what you do in the theater. Absolutely. And
it was, doing Prince of Broadway, like these shows were they're staples. Yeah. They're massive. They revolutionized what we do. Sure. But he was still treating, even though we're doing, sections of the shows, he was still treating it like, let's create it from a blank page. And what an experience. And then to finish off by doing Che, one of my favorite roles ever, in his 40th anniversary production in Tokyo and Osaka. That was awesome.
Okay, because you have toured all around the world, not just in shows, but also as a solo artist and also with your band. Yeah. How much joy do you get out of like singing around the world to audiences?
Well, it's a privilege and a pleasure, like that's what I signed up to do. I don't know what else I would do. And it's funny you talk about that now, because I'm at that point now. I'm thinking, well, what do I want to do now? Because the traveling, as you mentioned, has been amazing. Yeah. But I'm wondering if I should stop traveling for a while, stay in one place, see what happens after here, maybe see my family more, but maybe, well, we'll see. Well, my focus right now is Nick Arnstein, Funny Girl, serve this as best I can, and we'll see what happens after that. But I do get, it's, you go see these different cultures, the way Japan is with their arts, how the respect they have, the humanity they put into it, the artistry that's over there. Yeah. To come back to New York, where this is the Mecca, as one.
It's booming again. There's people everywhere. I love this.
I miss England, and I was able to do a lot of on-camera work there over the last couple of years.
You just did a BBC medical series, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
That was, I can barely speak as it is. If I have a script, that's fine. But to do that medical jargon, oh my days. And then I remember actually going to see an open heart surgery. I was like, I'm an actor. I don't need to be here.
You're like, I can play him, but I can't be a doctor.
Yeah, I'll watch a documentary. This is enough. That was unbelievable.
But you had a field day. It was 2 seasons, right?
Yeah. Well, that show now is finished. I did 2 seasons, and it was perfect arc. I only wanted to do 2 seasons. If I said that when I got it, but I said, I'm not assuming they're going to give me 2, but 2 would have been perfect, and that's what happened. And I had a great arc from the beginning to the end of my character. Because the way I started, too, the way I looked, to the way I finished, whole different face, different person, and that reflected the character and who he was and who he finished as.
Yeah. Okay, so one of my final questions is, we're standing here under the marquee. It's all lit. There's people everywhere. There's garbage rolling by us nonstop from the hotel, which I think is fabulous. People buying tickets to Funny Girl. But you're about to return in this glorious new show, which is going to be here for quite some time, my friend. So what's going through your mind? Just gratitude, 100% gratitude. And I think you're right. I think this is a special show. It's special for New Yorkers, let alone, I have friends in America, UK and Japan, all like, we're going to fly out to see it. We can't wait to finally see Funny Girl. This is an important show to a lot of people, and again, especially in New York. So I'm just full of gratitude to, one, be part of it, be Nick Arnstein, and just be back in New York and hang with you, my friend. I love this. Look at this. We're down the street from this. I love this. People wandering by, people buying tickets. And it's just Sunday as well. It's a Sunday here. And this is like your one day off. Yeah, but when I'm on my own, and I got a lot of time to kill, so I don't need a day off. I'm glad to be working.